opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment. Did you capture it? Just let it slip. Yo.
Good morning, Turfs Up Radio. Wayne Voles, Profits Unlimited, coming to you live from Louisville, Kentucky. Whew. What a day, what a day. It's a good day. No big problems going on at WLS today, but you know, some days just seem to kick off to a slow start. We had a little technical difficulty. I think we got that worked out. Daniel did. So, all right, we got that done, and we're going to do our best, do our absolute best to make this a great show for everybody. I didn't even get time to post up. Man, I always post up. Hey, join me. Got my Profit Time coming on. I didn't get time to shoot that up on Facebook. So, anyways, hopefully you guys are here with me like always. You know the gig, man. It's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. Doesn't change. So, but I always like to put a quick reminder up for you guys because I know you guys got 673 things going on in your life, too, every day. When it comes to running a business, especially when it comes to running a business in the spring. My goodness. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today. And I'm going to count on some feedback from you guys to talk about a few things too. So, hey, we got a great show planned. Hey, it's going to be great because you're here with us. And you guys that are out there doing a little mowing, probably doing a lot of mowing in most markets by now. And everybody's just trying to do their thing, right? I mean, I get it loud and clear. We're all out there trying to make a living, trying to make a profit. Nothing wrong with a profit dollar here and there, absolutely. So, with that being said, I was listening to my buddy Hecapus this morning, and he said he was going to have to go find him a something for his allergies, man, and It's that time of the year, too. Everybody's sneezing. God, yesterday, man, I tell you, I got a little story about yesterday, what I did and how, just with allergies and all. But, man, it's crazy. But we rode around to another month. Can you believe it? Here we are, May. It's really hard to believe that we're already sitting here in May, the 5th month of the year. When you look back on it, ask yourself, if you had one chance, one opportunity, would you take it, or are you just going to let it slip away? What have you done? What have you done since January 1st? For some of you guys, probably just same old, but I know a lot of you guys that I've talked to, you've made some big changes within your company for this year, and for that, I'm proud of each and every one of you, because if it was easy, everybody would do it, but it's not. It's not easy, and that's the neat thing about it. It's not easy for everybody to do it, and we don't think it's easy, although it really is easy to do it. But sometimes we just don't give ourselves enough credit. We just don't think we can do it, and at the end of the day, I think what we got to do is ask ourselves, are we going to keep doing things the same way, or we going to step up to the plate and change some things? And one of the topics that I've got today, you guys are going to say, oh, man, I cannot believe we're talking about that again. But the reality of it is we are going to talk about that particular topic again. But before we get into all that, I just would like to know, hey, what in the world did you guys do this weekend that was fun? Let's get that out of the way. Somebody let me know what you did this weekend that was fun. 502-550-8307. Or for what fun, what'd you do just this weekend? I had a pretty good weekend myself. It's hard to believe. Jane and I, we were out and about, and we were talking about, man, how the year's flying by. It's hard to believe it's May. And let's see what my buddy's got going on here. I better take this call for sure. Got my buddy here coming on. Darren Gruner, is that you?
Hey, Yeah, Wayne, what's going on, bud?
King Darren. Hey, man, I ain't heard from you in a long time. I'm glad you called in today, buddy. Appreciate you calling in. What's going on?
I figured I would. Well, you always do a delightful job on the weekend review, so I figured I would bring some new information to you today, right? And I know you're asking who everybody did this weekend. I told you about the air show, and I told you that the air show was not gonna happen, right?
Right.
It ended up happening, and it was beautiful, and those there were red, white, and blue F-15s. They were amazing, sick.
So your air show did get to go. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful yesterday. It was gorgeous all day. So yeah, it was a great thing.
Good deal.
But,
good deal. What else did you get into this weekend other than waiting on your air show to go by?
No, that's just getting ready to go to Kansas City. You know, TOCA. Please, anybody never heard of TOCA? It's you're in the business. TOCA is the Turf and Ornamental Communication Association, and each year they award somebody with the highest honor of getting an award for the best communicator of the year, and somebody that we know very closely is going to get that award. I can't tell you who it is yet, but I wanted to let you know, and that's why I'm going. And it's going to be the people that go there are the editors, the publishers of the green industry, the people that are the people that bring information to the green industry, just like Turfs Up Radio does. So I urge everybody to just go to TOCA, TOCA.com, and check it out. Check out TOCA and what it's all about, because that's like the nucleus of everything that we do. You got to check that out.
That sounds pretty interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I had not heard of that. That's cool. So everybody needs to check that out for sure. It's another source of information for us, right? You know?
Absolutely. Turf and Ornamental Communication Association. Think about that. It's to tell you everything you need to know if you are in the turf and ornamental business. That's the place to go, and it's the association. So it's like a group of all the publishers, like I said, of everybody that's bringing you together. So it's really cool, and it's an honor to be able to be part of that and to have access to going. That's going to be really cool.
That is, and you say that's in Kansas City?
Kansas City, yep. It's this week. It's tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Yep.
You going to be there all 3 days with it, Darren, or are you just staying a couple days, or what's your plans?
I'll be back. I'm leaving Thursday. I can't stay the whole day, but they have seminars. They have all kinds of good stuff that's pertaining to the industry. So you can become a member very easily too. So if you guys want, like they had, like the NALP and all those associations. This is another one that you can be right on the forefront. So you can tell you can be right there for all of your clients. You can say, look, I am on the latest. I understand the latest technology. I can bring you the latest products. It's really good to be part of that. I mean, even though you're listening to Turfs Up Radio, it's just another source and that's
right.
where we get a lot of our stuff from too.
Nice. Well, man, I'm kind of jealous that you get to go to Kansas for a few days. It's one of the few cities I've never been to.
Never been to Kansas. I've never been either.
I've been around it, but never in, Kansas City, Kansas.
Wow.
So.
Well, neither have I.
There you go. Well, hey, you check that off your bucket list once you make it out there and back, right? It'll be nice.
I might even call it in on Wednesday on your show live from there.
Oh, absolutely. So, that'd be fun. Heck yeah, man. Be sure to do that. Be sure to do that.
All right.
We're
all right. That sounds good. But I gotta run. But I just want to say hello and
well, thanks for everything. Thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate it, and safe travels. All right.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, we'll see you. All right. The world famous King Darren Gruner going out there to Kansas City. Nice. Says he's going to take and appreciate you guys sending your text in, and going to be out there for a few days, and looking forward to him touching base with us. So, yeah. Mike says he's never been to Kansas City, but he likes to listen to Kansas. So we'll see if we can't find a little Kansas music for you, Mike. Heck yeah. for sure. So appreciate all the text. We'll touch base on those here in just a second. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station. Don't go anywhere.
Are you a military family with a spouse on deployment away from home? Did you know that nonprofit Project Evergreen has thousands of volunteers across the country ready to help military families with lawn, landscape, and snow removal services? We call it Green Care and Snow Care for troops. If you are a military family and would like to receive this free service, or if you'd like to volunteer to help, visit projectevergreen.org. Project Evergreen, creating a greener, healthier, cooler Earth, 1 yard at a time.
Playing the best music.
Hands down and dirty. Turfs Up Radio.
Turfs Up Radio.
Turfs Up Radio. Turfs Up Radio. Turfs Up Radio. Turfs Up.
Turfs Up Radio. Your industry, your station.
Attention all veterans. Have you heard about Turfs Up Radio's Jobs for Vets program? If you are looking for a job and you're interested in working in the landscape and snow removal profession, there just might be a company in your local area that is looking to hire. All you have to do is send us your resume at jobsforvets@turfsupradio.com. That's jobsforvets@turfsupradio.com. Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Creating art from darkness. For over 20 years, Cast Lighting has designed and manufactured the world's most durable, energy-efficient, and technically advanced landscape lighting products available at astonishingly affordable prices. Cast offers an all-encompassing line of products with everything you need to get the job done. Cast Lighting gives you innovative, state-of-the-art, old-world craftsmanship with tomorrow's technology. Visit their website at cast-lighting.com today. That's cast-lighting.com.
Isn't it nice when the weather cooperates and crews complete jobs on time and on budget? But weather can cause delays, and with paper route sheets, jobs get lost in the shuffle. That's why you need Aspire Crew Control scheduling software, an easy-to-use, flexible, and affordable solution that allows you to shift schedules with a single click. Try Aspire Crew Control for free at aspirecrewcontrol.com.
Yes, indeedy. Check it out, aspirecrewcontrol.com. Make your life easier. You know, running a business is difficult enough and supports its own challenges for each and every one of us. So why not make your life a little bit easier? And, you know, just check out Aspire Crew Control. You know, we all get those 24 hours in a day. How we elect to use them, obviously, is up to you as the business owner. But sometimes we just think, oh, well, I can do that, I can do that. How many I can do that things do we do that if we just automated a little more of our business? And hey, I'll raise my hand. You know, I'll raise my hand. WLS, you know, we're in that process as well. Trying to figure. We're thinking really how we're going to go completely paperless. And I just, man, I'm going to do it. We're going to do it. But that's my goal, is to go completely paperless. So some of you guys might already be there, but you know, that's what we're looking at. But check out Aspire Crew Control. Make your life easy.
Yeah. Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. The Weekend Review.
The Weekend Review.
Join King Darren and all of your favorite Turfs Up Radio hosts, including Heculus, Eric, the Turf Teacher Jones, Wayne, the Prophet Bowles, his son Daniel, LaFord, the Green Veteran, and many more. Join us live as we unpack the week and share what you may have missed live on Turfs Up Radio. That's the Weekend Review, Saturdays, 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Yeah! Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Weekend Review. Yes, Darren touched on it a little bit. This past Weekend Review was awesome. He was talking about a big old air show they have down there in Fort Lauderdale. And, man, we had an awesome air show here. We talked about it a little bit here on the radio last Monday, you know, here in Louisville with the Derby approaching and all that. And, man, it is Derby week here in Louisville, Kentucky. And that's a big old push point. But before we get into talking about Derby week and our show today, thought we'd do a little Kansas for my buddy Mike, who brought it up, said he likes Kansas. So listen to a little Kansas, and then we'll talk about Profit Time. Turf's Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Don't you cry no more. Once I rose above the noise and confusion, just to get a glimpse beyond this illusion. I was soaring ever higher, but I flew too high. Though my eyes could see, I still was a blind man. Though my mind could think, I still was a madman. I hear the voices when I'm dreaming. I can hear them say, carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. Masquerading as a man with a reason. My charade is the event of the season. And if I claim to be a wise man, it surely means that I don't know. On a stormy sea of moving emotion, tossed about I'm like a ship on the ocean. I set a course for winds of fortune, but I hear the voices say, carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. Don't you cry. Don't you cry no
Carry On, My Wayward Son, Kansas. There you go, Mike. Can't get you to Kansas, by golly, but we bring Kansas to you. Absolutely. Good thought this morning. Man, I really like them too, man. It's a great band, good music, sit back. Good old music, just sit back to and chill out. Go back to the future. Go back to the future. Actually, we talked about that, the other day on our webinar that we had. Field Routes sponsored here. We talk about Field Routes here on Turf's Up Radio all the time, and they sponsored a selling webinar last Thursday, and I appreciate that and appreciate you guys being there with us. So, anyways, that's what we talked about, getting back to the future. It's selling season. And sometimes, with selling, and kind of just this song made me think about it for some reason. Sometimes we got to go back to go forward. It's kind of like sometimes we got to go slow to go fast. And, this weekend, talk about what you guys did on the weekend a little bit. A couple of you guys said you cut a little grass and enjoyed the Sunday weather and all that. And, hey, not a thing. Awesome. As long as you get a few minutes, just sit back, chill out, and just enjoy what's going on around you, And Doug had a pretty good thought, with what he was talking about in his weekend. He said, it seems like he can't hardly believe it's May. He said it's been working hard, but April was just such bad weather, that, you feel like you're so far behind. And at some point you feel like you're so far behind you're ahead. That's what we always joke about around here. We'll say, man, we're so far behind we think we're ahead. And sometimes that mindset, although it's not the reality, sometimes that mindset does make you feel a little bit better. So, but anyway, he did chill out a little bit Sunday, he said. He said he just sat back and watched his daughter get another lesson on horseback riding. So, before long, that's right. Before long they grow up and they're gone, and you're like, the memories are there, but they're gone. So spend time with your kids while you can. Because it happens fast. Being the father of four, you guys have heard me talk about this before, but, the reality of it is that before long, the house is empty. The house is empty, and then you're complaining because it's too quiet. So you think, Wayne, get on with profit time. What's that got to do with my business and me making a profit and me being successful and, our industry being better? And, well, it has a whole lot to do with it. Because if you take that time to be with your family or your friends or whatever you enjoy doing just for some free time, it's a mental reset. And Daniel talks a lot about that on his show about, it's not just physical well-being, but it's mental well-being. And if we can keep our mindset right, that's what it's all about. If our mind's right, our business has a much better opportunity to be right. See, Aaron says, yeah, he had a track meet. He says his daughter qualified for a state on Saturday. That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. She won state last year in the 100 meter and 200 meter. And, oh, man, I hear you, buddy. I hear you. She broke a high school record again as a middle schooler. So great for her. See what I'm saying? It's things like that, whether in Aaron's case, yeah, he could have probably put in some more landscape lights, or he could have mowed another yard, or we all could have done something else. You never get finished at work, no matter how long you stay. I just want to say that. That's my soapbox for the day. I can honestly say I could stay here till whenever, and I'd never get done. I'd never get finished, and that's a good thing, But don't think you're ever going to try to get finished, because you can get caught up, but you're probably not going to get finished. Now, I remember back in the day, sometimes I'd say, man, I'm done. I ain't got anything to do. Yeah. And you may hit that point with your business too, being smaller, where you get everything done. You got all your paperwork caught up, or, however you're doing it with technology. But at the end of the day, as your company continues to grow, you'll get to the point where you just get to a stopping point each day, not to where you're done. And that's what I want to see with each and every one of your companies. I want to see your all's companies scale and get out there and get what you want. Get what you want. Not necessarily be the biggest in your market, but get to where you want to be. That's how I define success, for companies that we do consulting and coaching with. It's not necessarily to be the biggest and the best. That's cool too if that's what you want to be. But you can be the smallest and the best, Says I wish I could get caught up. That man, you'll get caught up. We always do. But it's always nice to look over there and say, hey, man, we're booked out 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Whatever it is that puts you in your comfort zone of what you're selling and how far booked out you want to be. Because each and every one of us can sell enough work to be scheduled out as far as we want to be. But that's the big question. How far do you want to be scheduled out? How far do you want your customers or potential customers to wait for something before they get a little bit antsy and think, well, man, I really don't mind waiting. But then all of a sudden, 4, 5, 6 weeks out, and I can hear some of you guys out there, well, man, I'm 5 months out, or I'm 10 months out, or I'm 63 years out. Well, Merry Christmas and happy birthday. I'm glad you are. But most people aren't going to wait that kind of time frame. You can be really great at what you do, but I think being great at what you do is putting realistic wait times on people too, And I know all good things, are worth waiting for, and I'm not telling you how to run your business if you got a 2-year install time. I had my neighbor, she tried getting a pool and they told her they were booked 3 years out. Well, I'm just telling you, I ain't waiting 3 years for something. That's just me personally. I mean, I guess if I wanted a swimming pool that bad, I'd wait 3 years. But, Jesus, 3 years from now, I'm probably going to change my mind on what I like or what I want. I mean, that's enough time to change your mind, man, even with the deposit, So, anyways, with that all being said, hey, just keep on keeping on, as my buddy Heckema says. Keep doing what you're doing. It's getting better every day, absolutely, for us. And I hopefully, and I hope for you, and hopefully for everyone, that things are looking up and things are getting better with your company, and not just your company. Let's throw your family and your business, and let's put it all into your personal life, and, whatever it is, let's put it all in there and, say, hey, let's make it all good. Let's make it all good, because that, and that might be a pipe dream. I get that. That might be a pipe dream. But, at the end of the day, what's going to happen is we are going to get caught up on our work. Our phone's going to stop ringing some. And I actually want to talk about that a little bit here after we come back off our next break. And things will get into normal. You guys know it's this time of the year, right? It's the time of the year when things are just crazy. It's Derby week here. And I mean, I can't wait for Derby. And it's not to see the horses run around the track. It's to take that pressure off of us at Wayne's Lawn Service that Derby brings along. Everybody wants something done. Oh, I need it. I'll let you do it if you can do it by Derby. We hear that 4 or 5 weeks ago. Well, yeah, if you can get that landscape done by Derby, man, yeah, go ahead and we'll schedule it and we'll do blah 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 blah. But the reality of it is, not everybody has a Derby party. We've talked about that. Everybody's market has something that's a push point for you. Whether you're in Daytona or you're in Indianapolis or Nashville or Detroit or whatever it is, there's always a push point, right? Kansas City, Boise, Idaho. There's always a push point and a festival or an activity that comes along that says, hey, if you can get it done by then, I'll have you do it. So I hope you get by your push point this year, because we're going to make it by ours, I think. Mother Nature's cooperating a little bit with us. We all just work in it. We talk about that all the time here on Profit Time with you guys. Today's a beautiful day. Tomorrow it's going to start out wet. I'm going to trust my buddies at BAM Weather helping me with that. They say, hey, man, it's going to start out wet. You're going to get a little dry slot, and it's going to end wet. So hey, then we can make a better decision. But, we can't do anything about it. We just got to work within it. And then Wednesday looks pretty good. Thursday doesn't look too bad until we get into the afternoon time frame. But, it sounds a little bit selfish to say, hey, man, I just want to get through Derby week. I really don't care if it rains for Derby and Oaks, but, I really don't. And that might be a little bit selfish. I think sometimes we all get a little selfish within our businesses. But, for me, I want to get as many people happy as we can get happy this week. And if it rains on Saturday or Friday, you know what? There's still going to be 150,000 plus people out of Churchill Downs in the rain. They will. I mean, that's just the way it goes. They'll be there. So, yeah, I hope they have great weather. But at the end of the day, doesn't bother me one bit. I just, from a selfish standpoint, I just want us to get what we would like to get done this week. And they want to get done what they want to get done. And you want to get done what you want to get done. And with all that being said, I'm starting to sound a little too selfish. So I think we're going to take a little break. Take a little break before you guys get a bad opinion of me. Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station. We'll be right back with more Profit Time.
Are you still mixing station gas and oil for your string trimmer, leaf blower, or chainsaw? Eliminate the mess and the guesswork with True Fuel, the original pre-mixed two-cycle fuel. True Fuel is ethanol-free and precision-engineered for small engines, improving performance and extending the life of your outdoor power equipment. And True Fuel is available for both 2- and 4-cycle engines. Empower your equipment with True Fuel. Learn more at TrueFuel50.com.
From the East Coast to the West Coast and around the world, no one rocks like Turfs Up Radio. Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Fed up with your current software solution? FieldRoutes is the cloud-based software technology you need to level up your lawn care business. From routing to scheduling, collections, marketing, reporting, and more. It's the all-in-one solution that automates, not complicates. FieldRoutes helps lawn care companies simplify, scale, and grow. Schedule your free demo today by visiting fieldroutes.com. That's fieldroutes.com.
For over 20 years, Cast Lighting has designed and manufactured the world's most durable, energy-efficient, and technically advanced landscape lighting products available at astonishingly affordable prices. Cast offers an all-encompassing line of products with everything you need to get the job done. Source Lighting, a new division by Cast, is your source for professional grand landscape lighting made of durable brass, offering both integrated and drop-in LED technology. Visit their website at cast-lighting.com today. That's cast-lighting.com.
Hey, Turfs Up Radio fans, keep missing industry events but want to stay up to date on the action? Then simply download the Road Fuel Podcast by Turfs Up Radio on your mobile device. You'll hear everything you missed, including great interviews with showgoers and vendors keeping you in the know. That's the Road Fuel Podcast by Turfs Up Radio, or simply visit turfsupradio.com/Road Fuel.
Hi, we're Big and Rich.
And I'm Cowboy Troy.
And you're listening to Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station. Crank it up.
Crank it up. Speaking of cranking it up, just listen to True Fuel tell us about their product. And, I've used True Fuel a long time here at Wayne's Lawn Service. And, man, it's awesome. It's awesome. You owe it to yourself to check it out and use it. And you can't just buy just a can and say, okay, well, man, it worked great. But you got to commit to it. Commit a piece of equipment to it at least. But and then you'll find out, man, I should have done this a long time ago. And then you're going to start committing more equipment to it. But, I don't know if you guys were listening last week when Heckabus talked on it a little bit, and I did too, about they're talking about going to, instead of 10% ethanol now in our pump gas, allowing that to go to 15%. And that just means more and more trouble on your two-cycle stuff. just the reality of it. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever tested your gas that you're using. It's you can get a simple test to find out what percentage of ethanol you've got going. But man, now it's supposed to be 10, but there's many, many times that, we've looked at it and it's way above 10. So now if they're going to let it go to 15, it's not going to surprise me. I'm not talking bad about people that are doing the mixing. I'm just saying, I guarantee if they say 15's acceptable, we're going to see levels at 20. And that's why you need to just seriously start thinking about how you're going to save your 2-cycle equipment. And True Fuel is the way that you're going to do that. So check it out. Check it out. True Fuel. You won't be disappointed. So with that being said, as we get back into Derby week, and that brings us allergies, all of us with allergies all over, all this pollen going on and sneezing and feeling like crap and your head hurting and you're out there banging it out every day, running saws and running lawnmowers and running this and running that, and your head, you're sneezing and whatnot. So we get through it. We'll get through it, But as we get through it, let's listen to a little Foreigner here for a second. We're going to come back. Speaking of allergies, how about a little head games?
Show how you feel. No time ever
Absolutely. A little foreigner there getting us going. Little head games. Speaking of head games, you guys getting a lot of calls this year? I know I had a guy call me the other day, another lawn and landscape company here in Louisville, and he's listening to us here on Turf's Up Radio. Probably said he listens to us quite frequently. So, but he was asking. He said, "Man, y'all, is your call volume up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, ours is." And he says, "Maybe that's something you could talk about a little bit on the radio." And ask, "How's your all's call volume?" I mean, ours is way up. And I mean, it's not like, first thing you may say, when you're outstanding, your advertising's working outstandingly for you, and maybe that's what it's doing for you. But I can tell you, we haven't thrown any more funds at it. A lot of tire kickers. I hear you. There is a lot of that going on. But, he was saying, their call volume's probably up, 5, 6, 7%, 100%, he's saying. He's like, it's just stupid high. And I can tell you this, ours is way higher than normal. I mean, we're probably a couple 100% up from what would be normal for us. So, there's a lot out there, and I was just curious if it's happening with you guys too, and maybe, what's even causing it, because a lot of guys that I've talked to said, man, we're not even doing any advertising and generally don't, and our people are finding us, and I think there's a lot of different variables that can be affecting that, but I think, we look at it initially, and what causes a lot of that tire kicking, was early on, and depending on your market and where you're at, when your mowing season starts and all that, and, but it's not just mowing, it's fertilization and weed control, it's everything. It's landscaping, mulching, or that's what we're running into. And I'm curious what you guys may be running into in different parts of the country, but, a lot of tire kickers, I get that, but just is your phone volume up, and, because I think what's maybe generated some of it is, a lot of contractors, number one, raised pricing this year. It was one of the few years where you just saw a lot of people saying, yeah, I'm raising prices, I'm raising prices, I'm raising prices. And I think that's a good thing. Now, we'll find out, unfortunately, I think, and, we've talked about this a little bit here on Turf's Up Radio on my show already, but even though we've had a lot more contractors increase their pricing for different services that you're offering, they still don't really know why they charge what they charge. They still might not be hitting the mark, or maybe they're going over the mark. And, like I've always said, going over is just as bad as being under. It costs you work both ways. Normally being under, though, just makes you work harder, not smarter. Being over just means you're getting passed up on bids that you could otherwise get if you had a better handle on your costs. But, how does that affect call volume? Well, I think that's an easy answer, because I think there's so many contractors that did increase pricing this year that it caught some of their customers off guard. Some of them didn't care. Some of them just said okay and moved along with it, right? I mean, that was the experience a lot of people had. But realistically, I think what we got to look at is where's the end goal at? What's the I can't think of the right word. It'll come to me here in a second. But let's see. Doug says phone volume isn't up for him in Pennsylvania. It's actually down a little bit. He said, but however, email and Facebook Messenger is rolling in more than normal. So there you go. Doug, that's pretty cool because that's something that we talked about, in our selling webinar, that it's different strokes for different folks. It's not all just phone calls. It's not just email. It's not just social media marketing. It's, it's a combination of things. And I think more and more people are reaching out in different ways. And that one thing allows us to know what would it helps you put your finger on the pulse of the market. Let's see. Charles. Let's see, he's got a good text here. He said, quite the opposite for them. He says, I'm having a hard time getting clients. I follow up on posts and send out private messages, door hangers, Facebook, paid ads. He said his last campaign was a bust. I only got those phishing calls. I hear you, man. I hear you. Those are frustrating. And, something I think to look at, and not to turn this into a marketing and advertising segment on Profit Time, but I think it's worth talking about. Charles, I think when you look at it and see, there's a lot of reasons that a marketing or advertising campaign can be just absolutely off the hook great, or the worst thing you ever spent money on and not see any return on it. And it may not have anything at all to do with market conditions as much as two things, in my opinion, or two things that we'll touch base on right now anyway. And that's your call to action within that piece, and or the timing of that piece. The call to action is, okay, what incentive is there to call? And it doesn't have to be a huge discount. It's not, 50% off your first application. Maybe that works, maybe that doesn't work. But do you have a good call to action, a good reason for a person to respond? What are you doing to help create that fear of missing out, right? That we all try to do in our advertising. So what is a good call to action? And maybe that's something we'll talk about one day. I don't think it's one answer or two answers to that. I think the call to action is certainly market based. It's time driven based. It's service related based. But there's a ton of different things we can do. But I think the most importantly is our timing. Number one, so everybody's market's going to have a different time frame. For somebody to say, hey, you need to do this in March or April or May or July or September, that's going to fluctuate by market, because our markets are a little bit different, and when we get started and get stopped and transition into seeding or aeration or mowing or fert and weed, pre-emergence, it's different for each and every one of us. But I think one thing we got to remember, and if you don't remember anything out of my show today on Profit Time here on Turfs Up Radio, is to remember this. And you can Google it and find it. And I know a lot of you guys like Googling, but it's called the Rule of 7. It's the Rule of 7. Check it out. And whether it's really 7 or if it's 6 or 5 or 8, I think the important thing to understand about the Rule of 7 is simply, it says that people need to have something put in front of them generally 7 times or more before they respond to it. And I think that's a big takeaway, that we as small businesses, and certainly with your business, you need to understand that it's not just, oh man, I'm going to get 200,000 impressions, or I'm going to put out 10,000 door hangers or 5,000 door hangers, and man, I'm really going to saturate the market with them. It's more of a repetitive. Repetition is more important than volume in most cases. And I think that's something we need to think about, because I got hung up in the volume. And even though when I was smaller, that volume may have only been 1,000 of something, okay, or 500 of something. But I'd put all those 500 or all those thousands out at one time to 500 different homes or 500 different businesses or whatever my target was. I think we need to look at it a little bit closer and harder and say, hey, let's look at that Rule of 7. And forgetting, let's just throw it out the window a minute and say, okay, maybe it's not 7 times. Maybe if our timing is great with it, maybe it's 2 or 3 times the consumer has to see that ad. So that's why I say timing is of the utmost importance on anything. The timing. But understand that it's the repetition that's very important too. Somebody needs to see something more than once before they're going to buy in most cases. So let that be the takeaway. Let that be the takeaway. That, hey, it's not necessarily how much of something you're putting out there, but are you hitting the same people multiple times with it? Because statistically, what you're going to find out when you look it up, and that's one of the great things about Google is you can look a lot of things up, but one of the bad things about looking at something up on the internet is sometimes you're just getting an opinion and you don't know it. So we got to make sure that we're going after the right type of clientele with the right mindset, and that awareness aspect of it. To Darren's point here, shot me a text, top of mind awareness. There's so many little things that get involved in it that to just say one thing is solid. And hey, if you just do this one thing, I don't know that marketing and advertising can ever be boiled down to one thing personally. I mean, I just don't think it's going to happen. In my opinion, when you say, okay, well, let's look at branding or marketing, whatever you want to call it, it's a million things. It's everything that you do within your business. It's everything that you do. And I think what too many people think about, or don't think about, is your equipment, your trucks, and you. How many people see you and your equipment and your trucks every day, yet a lot of times we don't think of that as being a major source of our marketing or our branding or our advertising for our company. More people are going to see your truck and you and your equipment every day than any other form of advertising you're going to do in most cases. It's just, you got to think of the little things. You got to think of marketing and advertising as the vision of everything you do. It's everything. And you'll find some neat reads on it that'll tell you that. And I've experienced that, and I actually studied that back in 1397 when I went to school. A lot of my marketing that I took was, and that's one thing that hasn't changed. It's consistency, number one, and the fact that we can't use one form of advertising for everybody because different strokes for different folks. Everybody might need a car, but some people are going to like a car ad that's geared this away or that away. And I think something we need to think about too is who's our new target. If you're, residentially, we've known it's female, right? The female's predominantly the residential target because that's who generally we talk to. Okay, but commercially, now they've become a target for us as well over the last 12, 15 years, that if you're not thinking about what appeals to the female buyer, from a marketing perspective, an advertising perspective, then I think you're cutting yourself a little bit short too. So got a little bit more into marketing and advertising today than I had planned on, but the point is simply this, we got to know that, hey, it's going to take more than one contact. Our phones are either ringing or they're not ringing, and you got to ask yourself why either way. And for those of you that are experiencing a larger call volume than normal and you haven't spent any more money, what do you think's making that happen within your market? I think what's making it happen within our market and a lot of markets across the country is the thing I get from people on the telephone all the time is, hey, I'm looking to get this or this done, whatever it is they're wanting done. It's a wide variety of service offerings, but the guy that I had doing it or the company that I had doing it's no longer in business. And I think, we talked about that even before first of the year rolled around, that, and I didn't have my crystal ball or anything out, but that was my opinion back then, 6 months ago, that we're going to lose a lot of businesses, a lot of lawn and landscape businesses, a lot of just all kinds of our industry businesses, because of what we need to know and what most companies don't know about their pricing. And now they're going to be guessing even more at their pricing, trying to deal with it. And they're just going to say to heck with it, fold up shop and close the doors and move along. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. All we got to do is focus in on the business side of our business. And that's what Turfs Up Radio is here to do, is we're here to help educate and elevate the industry. You've got enough help here on Turfs Up Radio that you guys would literally spend, thousands of dollars a year on if you were buying it, if you were buying that knowledge. With people like Eric Jones and myself and Heckapus and Daniel and Beth Berry and, Dan Plata and Heckapus, and I'm going to miss Darren. And, we've just got such a diverse group of hosts here with so many years of experience and we share all that knowledge with you guys. And what I appreciate the most out of all of it is you guys share your knowledge back with us. And then we can disseminate that knowledge back out on Turfs Up Radio to everybody. So we're accomplishing our goal. And our main goal here at Turfs Up Radio is to help elevate and educate the industry. Because if we make our individual companies better, and we do that one at a time, right? You can't make anybody else, you can't be mad at a competitor and say, man, you need to change your business. Don't get mad at them. Just enlighten them a little bit. Share Turfs Up Radio with them. Let them know that, hey, here's something you ought to listen to, man. There's a lot of great knowledge shared here that'll help your company be more successful and be more profitable. And speaking of sharing, today, Monday, my buddy Jose Rollins on at 1 today with the Jose Show. Check him out. Check all of us out here on Turfs Up Radio. Share it with your friends. And, hey, I just want to say one thing. I appreciate each and every one of you guys every day being here with us. And certainly Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from our Profit Time show. Because, my goal is simply this, to let everybody pick up an idea that can help their company be a little more successful, be a little more profitable. And at the end of the day, we're just going to simply elevate and educate our entire industry. And each and every one of us is going to be more successful and more profitable. Have a great day. We'll see you Wednesday on Hump Day. And in the meantime, remember, profit is not a dirty word.